year was 2000. Marco was in his third year of high school, a proud and passionate member of the Boy Scouts of the Philippines. A venture scout, well on his way to earning his Eagle rank. For him, scouting wasn't just a school activity. It was a lifestyle, discipline, honor, brotherhood. And that week, he was about to experience the biggest adventure of his young life. In 3 days, Marco and his troop were headed to the National Jamboree in Casigiran, Sorsogon. It would be 3 full days of outdoor skills, competitions, and camaraderie with scouts from all over the country. On a bright Wednesday morning, their school became the pickup point. Dozens of scouts, boys and girls, gathered with their gear and uniforms pressed crisp. The bus ride lasted 2 hours, but no one seemed to notice. Laughter, songs, and cheesy jokes filled the bus. Some were singing scout chants, others shared snacks, and a few whispered about the ghost stories they'd share by the campfire. When they finally arrived at the campsite, the scouts wasted no time. Tents were pitched, flags raised, and their troop's base camp came to life. Day 1 was all about introductions. Each troop had to present a short performance to represent their region. Some sang, others danced, and a few showed off funny skits. That night, the opening bonfire lit up the sky, and everyone gathered around its warmth. It was magical how the crackling fire made strangers feel like old friends. The second day was packed with competitions, knot tying, rope climbing, fire-making drills. The air was filled with youthful energy and the smell of sweat and pine. But that night, everything changed. The campfire burned again, but the stories shared this time were different. Chilling. Older scouts took turns sharing tales of Philippine folklore. Copras, white ladies, aswangs, and more. The younger scouts laughed nervously, pretending they weren't scared. Marco listened quietly, eyes on the dancing flames. As the stories ended, lights out was called. The camp began to sleep, but then screams, blood-curdling, panic screams pierced the stillness of night. Every scout jolted awake. Flashlights clicked on. Scoutmasters rushed out of their tents, leading the others toward the noise. It was coming from the Girl Scouts campsite. When they arrived, the scene was chaotic. Girls were crying, trembling, huddled together under the tarp. One of them was pointing at their wash station, barely able to speak. Tyanak, Tyanak. Confused, everyone looked toward where she was pointing. The concrete wall beside the sink had muddy, baby-sized footprints, starting from the ground, then crawling up the wall and onto the ceiling. Silence fell until one of the girls, pale and shaking, managed to speak. She said they were washing up before bed when the footprints started appearing on the wall by themselves, as if an invisible infant was walking vertically, defying gravity. Then came the whispers, a soft, breathy sound that wasn't coming from any of them. That's when they screamed. That night, back in their own campsite, Marco and his friends tried to sleep, but no one could. The tent rustled. Then again, they whispered to each other, convinced it was just wind, until they heard it, a baby crying, far away at first, then closer, then right outside their tent. Marco peeked outside but saw nothing. The other tents were zipped up. No movement. Then came the scratching. Soft at first, then growing more frantic. Something, or someone, was crawling along the side of their tent, circling it slowly. They held their breath, hoping it would go away. But suddenly, the tent shook violently, as if someone threw themselves against it. They screamed, and when their scoutmaster rushed over, the noise stopped. No one else saw or heard anything. The scoutmaster told them to get some sleep, but sleep didn't come that night. On the final day, before the awarding and closing ceremony, a local albulario, a folk healer, was called in. He brought with him herbs, incense, and blessed water. He apologized to the spirits in the dialect, asking forgiveness if they had been disturbed. Some say he even whispered something to the trees, as if someone or something was listening. He made his way to the Girl Scouts wash station, chanting softly, circling the area with smoke. Then he blessed the girls who were the first-hand witnesses, placing an oil mark on their foreheads. The jamboree ended with cheers and medals. But something stayed. A few months later, Marco received a letter from one of the girls they met there. Inside was a photo of her troop at the jamboree. Everyone smiling, except for one. In the back, near the wash station, there was a figure. Small, barefoot, grinning, with eyes as black as night. Marco turned the photo around. No caption, just 3 words. Still here, watching. If you ever went on a jamboree, think back. Was there a sound in the night you couldn't explain? A shadow by the trees that seemed a little too small to be human? Maybe you met it too. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story if you enjoy dark tales from the Philippines. I've got more waiting, and some of them, they're still watching.